The Brooklyn Nets and Boston Celtics will be facing off in the first round of the 2021 NBA playoffs. A team in Brooklyn with two former MVPs going up against one of the best young players in the league, looking to shock the NBA. I'm talking, of course, about Jayson Tatum. This series will be so fun with lots of different storylines, and in today's video, I'm previewing the series and giving you my prediction for who will win it. Nets and Celtics, Celtics and Nets, Williamsburg hipsters versus Clovers and Leprechauns. So what can we expect from this 2-seed versus 7-seed matchup? Well, I'm going to break down every last detail. Hey, Sully, where did you park the car? Hey, you parked wicked fair. First, though, how's it going, everybody? This is Troy with the Half Court Report YouTube channel. Make sure you drop a like on this video. Helps out the channel and helps to get more eyes on this content, which helps in growing the channel. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you are subscribed so you never miss another NBA video. I post all the time, and I am posting about every single playoff matchup all the way through the NBA Finals. Let's begin by talking about the Brooklyn Nets. This team has had enough storylines in one season that many teams would have in an entire lifetime. From Kyrie Irving going MIA for multiple points in the season to KD coming back from a year off due to an Achilles injury. Then there's the James Harden trade, which makes Brooklyn even more dangerous. And I haven't even talked about Blake Griffin signing after his free agency buyout, LaMarcus Aldridge signing and then retiring just a few games later. Then you got Steve Nash, one of the greatest point guards ever to play the game, and he's never coached before, and now he's the head coach of this super team. This team is like a script from a movie. Anything less than a trip to the Eastern Conference Finals would be a disappointment for the Nets. So let's go through their roster to see what the Celtics are going to be going up against. I'll spend most of this section talking about the big three. No, not Landry Shamet, Tyler Johnson, and Jeff Green. I'm talking about Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden. I still lie awake at night wondering how in the world the Nets were able to put these guys together on one team. And what on earth was Houston thinking making that James Harden trade? That's for another video, though. Let's start with Kyrie Irving. Say what you want about him. You know, he'll spout off some kooky things. He can be somewhat aloof with fans and the media. And yeah, he's prone to take games off and go to a family member's birthday party. But here's the thing. When he plays, Kyrie Irving can ball like no other. And the most important thing, his weirdness, his unusual personality does not seem to bother the other stars on the team. So as long as they're okay with Kyrie, the Nets are fine letting him do what Kyrie wants to do. And then there's Kevin Durant, who only played 35 games this season, but his game is as good as ever. Personally, I'm shocked that he hasn't regressed since that terrible Achilles injury. I do think it's a testament to how hard he works on his game and how passionate he is about basketball. He's going to get his shot off against anyone. He's going to get wherever he wants to on the floor and add some solid defense as well. Speaking of defense, let's talk about James Harden because this guy, he does not make his money on the defensive end, but he does make his money scoring and slashing and getting his teammates the ball in the right spots. If you can believe it, when the big three have played together, new facets of their games have been unlocked with the addition of James Harden. It has been a beautiful thing to watch. Going a little farther down the roster, I think Blake Griffin still has something left in the tank for this Brooklyn team. He was definitely miscast as the number one option earlier this year with Detroit. He's not jumping over Kias anymore. In fact, he's not really dunking it at all. But Blake Griffin is going to compete his guts out and brings a pretty solid basketball IQ to this team. Remember, we're talking about a 6-time All-Star, and you still have to respect that and respect his game when he's on the floor. Next up, Bruce Brown, Jeff Green. For casual fans, maybe just minor role players, but if you've been paying attention, these dudes have played a major role for the Nets this year. Bruce Brown is a winner who can guard multiple positions. He does the dirty work. Jeff Green, he played with Kevin Durant and James Harden in Oklahoma City. He has been a Swiss Army knife type of player for the Nets. He guards, he makes threes, he rolls to the rim to score, he can play a little bit of the 5 spot. Really been impressed with Jeff Green. And how about Nick Claxton? Because I know there are some Nick Claxton fanboys who get upset when I talk about the Nets, but I don't talk about who they think is going to be the next Chris Bosh. Well, Claxton has carved out a role at that center spot. He's giving the Nets some of the elements that they lost when they traded away Jarrett Allen. And finally, Landry Shamet. He's a guy who can shoot it from three-point range, give you another option at that guard spot. So Harden, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant played together in just 8 of the 59 games that the Nets had after acquiring Harden from the Houston Rockets. But since everybody is healthy now, playing through those stars is going to be Brooklyn's key to winning this series. Now on to the Celtics. They are led by Jayson Tatum. He has been straight up cooking fools right now. Recently, he's had a 53-point, 60-point, 50-point game. The Celtics need him, and he is rising up to the challenge. He's on a crazy run, so he's going to be really good in this series, no doubt about it. It's the supporting cast that I have my questions about. Kemba Walker, for instance, playing point guard spot. If he gets going, watch out. But the big question for me is he's never really gotten that far in the playoffs until last year. Is he built for this moment? Playoff basketball is completely different than the regular season, so can he take the pressure? How's he going to match up with Kyrie? I have my questions about Kemba in this series. Evan Fournier, who came over in that Orlando trade, has shot it well from 3, but I think he's been a little bit disappointing compared to what the Celtics thought they would be getting. Some of that could be blamed on Fournier recovering from COVID, but I think he's going to have to step it up a lot on this series, especially with the loss of Jaylen Brown. Marcus Smart, say what you want about his flopping. He is the kind of player everybody wants on their team. All defensive type of player. He's going to get after it. He's going to shove some fans along the way. He's a very emotional player. Celtics fans love him. Not the most talented guy on the floor, but he does what it takes to win, and he is a total dog out there. Center is an issue for the Celtics, but Tristan Thompson and Robert Williams III, Time Lord himself, they can man that position. They can bring it defensively, and luckily the Brooklyn bigs are not world beaters by any stretch. So I think the Celtics will actually be okay in that area. I do think depth and youth will be an issue for Boston. That youth and inexperience has also caused them to have defensive lapses from time to time, especially when they're defending out to the three-point line. Brooklyn is too good and is going to punish you for any of those defensive lapses, so the Celtics will have to get a handle on that really quick. So how are things going to shake out? If you'll remember, Brooklyn swept Boston in their 3 regular season meetings. The Celtics are going into this series with low expectations, and if we're being honest, not a whole lot of pressure to actually win this series. If they can play loose, maybe catch Brooklyn sleeping, they might be able to make a series out of this. But I think the Nets are going to be locked in. And even if the Nets aren't fully locked in 100% of the time, it's still going to be enough to beat the Celtics. My prediction is the Nets sweeping Boston in 4 games. Let me know in the comments who you've got winning this series. Drop your predictions down below. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like to help support the channel and check out my other playoff prediction videos that I've done already. I've got a few more still on the way. Make sure you are subbed up to this channel. New NBA content several times a week. My name is Troy. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time on the Half Court Report.